Welcome to Beauty by Jen. Today I have the exciting opportunity to speak with Mr. Jay of NCC Records. Mr. Jay's musical journey began when he moved to the Fayetteville, Springlake, North Carolina area at a very young age. By the time he was in high school, he was already a seasoned songwriter, using his music as an outlet to express his experiences and emotions. More so, we will get into Mr. J's compelling story. So we hope you enjoy this show. Hi, Mr. J. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Mr. Jay, one of the personalities of the Live from Fayetteville podcast, NCC CEO, 1/4 of the empire. Basically, a little bit about me. I started my journey young. During that time, my first venture to the studio was probably around 14, 15 years old. Getting into the studio and being able to start recording. Part of that was spurred on by wanting to really perform. I was going to be in a talent show. I had been in the first talent show the year before, and I had done somebody else's music. And I said to myself, well, why don't I go to studio, and to be able to try to win this, let me do my own music, do my own songs. So I went to record in a studio called Unique Production Studio. It was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was downtown. And that's how, the whole group thing started. I started out, wanted to do some songs and, do some performances, and just felt like, well, maybe we need to bring some other people along. And friends from school, friends from, my brother, kind of built up this collective called the Omega Clan. It started out basically just being 4 members of the group. Then it kind of blossomed up to 32 at one time. That kind of got us some notice around town. We started doing talent shows in different places, different schools that would, the ones that would allow us to do it. We're basically, go and perform. And we had different people who actually wanted to be managers and things like that. So they started getting us noticed. It was kind of the bubbling up of like online. Everybody didn't have access, but we had a homeboy who had access to like AOL, and he started building us a website, which kind of got us some notice. We got us a little bit of notice through Warner Brothers, but we were kids, we really didn't know what that meant. We didn't know how to deal with basically what they were giving us, which was like a development deal. It didn't necessarily mean, everything was going to go the way that we wanted it to go. We started doing, more shows and different things around town with the radio station. And it just kind of petered out because it didn't happen like everybody wanted it to happen. People fell off. Different managers took money from us, for things. So it just kind of became something that made that piece of time fall away. Just to get myself into school or college, I really wanted to learn about business, just to kind of know, exactly how to not to fall into those pitfalls again and have those holes again. So, I went away to Rhode Island to college for a couple years and learned business administration. And while I was up there, I did a couple shows called the Underground Experience. One at a place called AS220, and one at a place called The Strand, which I believe now is called Lupo's The Strand. One of the other clubs around the corner took it over. But that was my first time really trying to, put a show together up there, and came back home and tried to do the same thing. We were in the newspaper in '99, doing the underground experience at a place called Prince Charles Hotel, downtown Fayetteville.
Okay, Mr. J, you are giving us a lot of gems, like an overall synopsis of the entire thing. So let's take it back a little bit. Let's take it back when you were that little boy who moved here to Fayetteville, Springlake area, and you said you were about 14, 15 years old. What was the catalyst that made you say, you know what, I'm going to take music more seriously? Like, I'm sure you told us, well, you told me about a couple of influences you had that made you decide, like, this music thing is something very serious for me, and this music thing is helping me with something. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the passing away of a homeboy, passing away of my foster brother, just kind of made me take it seriously, because it was therapy. It kind of ended up being those high school years, early middle school years. Was therapy. I mean, I could go even back further. To as a kid, writing my first song was kind of a my version of like LL's "I'm Bad," and I wanted to. It was just interesting to me to be able to create something, and like going on, like I said, it became my therapy. It's just kind of able to be able to write things down on the page, and be able to express myself in a way that was just special to me. So.
Right. So losing people that were very close to you, that was kind of your, or was your inspiration to take it seriously. I got it. So how did you come up with your stage name?
Went through a lot of different incarnations of names, and what was cool at the time wasn't cool anymore. I had a lot of nicknames. The cats used to call me Top. And eventually it became J Dog. Then it was Mista Jay, because it was kind of like a thing I wanted to have that commanded respect, and that's what stuck. I mean, that's what grew and changed once we started doing like the at the end of kind of the Omega Clan into what ended up becoming the Empire.
How would you describe like your musical style? Like, is it like I hear like a New York tone, like a New York style, or like more of a northern? What would you describe it as, your style?
Basically, real hip hop, like lyrical, boom bap ish. Definitely in that realm.
Who
We
would you
kind of.
say? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I do
No,
apologize.
I was just saying, just kind of talk about real life stuff. You know what I mean?
So, if you could name some artists that you were inspired by, who would they be? Like, who are mainstream?
Um, as far as mainstream artists, it's definitely um, Run DMC, Wu Tang, Ice Cube, KRS-One. Um, those are the major. Scarface. Those are kind of the major ones that really kind of influenced a lot of what I do. I'm constantly under influence, or constantly being inspired, more likely, probably the better term, inspired by a lot of the newer cats are out, and some of the cats that have been around longer, or more recent, like J. Cole, like the Little Brothers, um, like the Coast Contras, some people in that vein.
Right. Can you walk us through a little bit of your creative process? Like when you're settled down, you're thinking about the direction you want to go in for a track. Like, what's your process? Can you walk us a little bit through that?
Well, I might be a little backwards from most people who do it. Usually, they have a process of where they have an idea in their head what they want to talk about, and then they find a beat, or they hear a beat, and then they have an idea of what they want to talk about. Um, I'm kind of inspired by a lot of what I hear. Like, if there's a track that I hear that you know somebody's talking about something on, I'm trying to figure out, well, what did they miss? You know what I'm saying? What exactly? How would I expand on that topic, or how would I talk about the opposite of what they're talking about, and how does that fit? And then I kind of find a beat that kind of matches that, and matches that theme, and then I write, and it's usually like an hour, probably about an hour, come up with uh, verses and a hook. I'm still doing maybe 2-3 verses. I think a lot of people do, maybe 2 verses at all, and it's kind of shortened down from it used to be 3 minutes and 30 seconds to now I think it's almost 2 minutes. Everybody's doing 2 minute songs. It's almost not a song.
So, you have experience with working in large groups. Has there ever been any dysfunction within the group, or is it just all always just happy?
Well, I mean, it's not, you work with different people and you work with different personalities. It's not always going to be happy. There's going to be a little bit of friction. Um, I guess the major dysfunction was, the earlier Omega Clan days, because we were all teenagers. We're all, spanning the age range from basically like barely a teen to 17, 18. So you have those kind of ego fights, you have those kind of things. People kind of went on their own and did different things because they felt like it was going to work for them. Like, we had a East West showcase that we all were supposed to try to be a part of, but certain people got pulled away by other people who worked for the radio station or worked for different or had different managers or whatever, who felt like oh well, y'all need to go over here and leave these folks alone. That kind of thing at that time. But I mean, other than that, when we had just the 4-man group of the Empire, of course we had friction, trying to put together the album called The Dark Ages, because we all had different ideas about how we wanted certain tracks to come together. But at the end of the day, we all settled on something that, made a classic project.
And would you say that for the most part, you guys all kept in contact, even though some of you may have gone in different directions?
Definitely for the Empire. For the Empire, we definitely all pretty much are still in contact. Still looking to, do maybe 1 or 2 more group projects before we all say, we've had a good, decent run.
What do you feel like when you're on the stage? Like, what feelings do you have? What emotions do you have when you're on that stage?
Um, it just feels like home. It feels like, when you're out there and you're able to perform, you're able to get, things right the way you want it, and things are working. It feels like home. It feels like, I don't think there's any other feeling like it, being on stage and being able to have people hear your music, hear, what you created.
Are there any jitters, butterflies, or anything, or just like home, just comfortable out there on that stage?
I think there's a little bit of anxious energy beforehand because of wanting everything to go right, wanting to have everything set up right. And, if it's just me, it's not that much. But when I'm performing with other people and kind of depending on other people to get things in the right right space, then yeah, it's probably a little bit more anxious energy beforehand.
Is there a certain way you prepare before you go out on the stage, or it's like, hey, let's just go do it?
Well, I mean, I'm always listening to, like, if I know I got a performance, I'm always listening to a lot of my stuff beforehand, just trying to get it in my brain, just kind of, thinking to myself what I want to do when I'm on the stage, while I'm riding around or while I'm at the house listening to it. You know, well, once it's time to go, it's just go do it.
Now, I've listened to like all of the tracks pretty much, but the audience, maybe they haven't heard it yet. What kind of messages are you sending in your music? Like, is some of it like, I don't know, inspirational, some of it like just something to vibe to? What is it?
It's all of that. It's something that I want to be inspirational. I want to have people really think about what I'm talking about. Some of it's just, wordplay. I want people to really kind of feel the wordplay and appreciate that. And some of it's just, life history stuff, or dealing with a little bit of politics here or there, talking about the game as far as music, and how I feel about it. It's just all those things.
Do you feel like your music makes a positive impact on people?
I would, I would hope so. I would hope that it does make a positive impact on people, that people really feel, and really love what we do.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like with music, like it can pull out all of your emotions, like happy, sad, down and out, like whatever you're feeling. Like I think music does that for people. And I feel like you have tracks that, touch all of that. So, all right, that sounds good. Do you have any advice? Because you have like an extensive like music background, do you have any advice for like anyone inspiring to be in music or rap or anything of that nature?
I always tell people, what I'm saying, just network, learn what you need to know. Don't be afraid to ask questions, um, and just network and gravitate to people who are trying to go in the same direction that you're going. Always be in a room with people who may know more than you, and don't be intimidated by people who may know more than you, because everybody knows something, nobody knows everything. So, it's just one of those things I try to always do. I try to always network with different people, collaborate with different people. Um, I think I get the most out of what I'm doing and get closer to my ultimate goal, when I'm networking with different people and finding out different things I didn't know that I didn't know.
Can you tell us a little bit of like the your favorite songs from the songs that you guys have worked on, rather it be the ones you've done as a group or anything from your solo project? Like your favorite ones, like you know what? Out of all of the ones I made, this one and this one or this one is the one that
Um, it's hard to say, your favorite's like your favorite kid. Um, but it's there's certain ones that stick out. Of course, is Message to Hip Hop, and then I did a part two on my solo album called Message to Hip Hop Two. Um, and then there's Trolling for Nothing, which is
hmm.
also on the Savage Genesis soundtrack, which is a movie that I was in. There's Battlefield on my solo album with my brother. There's a Worst Critic on the Dark Ages album. I think that's very introspective track, definitely for artists, because sometimes we are our worst critic. Things don't always sound, once we're finished with it, like it sounded in our head. So, so
What
those
was
are just
you?
some of the tracks.
I'm sorry. Now, what you worked on a lot of projects as a group and then you went solo. Would you say that was a big step for you from, leaving a large group and then saying, you know what, I'm going to do my own solo projects? Was that like a huge step for you, or was it just a natural progression for you? Natural progression.
Well, it's kind of a natural progression. I mean, it's kind of going back to where I started. I started out, going in the studio, just me, and then it turned into a group thing. And I always wanted to kind of step away and be able to have, a voice separate from the group, which I wanted for everybody in the group to be able to have their own solo, and then everybody else come back to the group. So we have our own voices independently, but we have, a collective voice as a project.
Can you tell us more about your most recent projects?
The most recent one is One Heartbeat Away. I've worked with a few artists on there. MC Search, Pace One, from the Empire, Speak No E, Prince Imperial, a couple other independent cats that I've worked with, the Fat Boy, Eddie Rugers, Prince Unique, and of course Arvelli and Exception. And it's just really kind of chronicling some of the things that I've done for years and kind of bringing me up to current date with some more newer material.
When you guys were working on your music video, who helped with that creative process? Was it all of you as a group, or?
It was basically like, I had an idea in my head for exactly how I wanted everything to look. I just kind of given it to the director to go ahead and do his thing. I've mostly worked with Alpha Eyes, and it's been a couple other individuals that I worked with on some other videos, but mostly with Alpha Eyes on most of the videos that I've done. And
when Mr. J is not making music, what does he do for fun?
I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'm always watching Marvel, watching sports, basketball. Definitely always listening to music, trying to, go back and chronicle, different albums, taking it back to old school albums, new school albums, always trying to find new lyrical content that inspires me.
If someone wanted to contact you to, get advice on doing music and anything like that, would you be open to it?
Definitely. I'm always open to, giving advice or collaborating with folks and just, letting people know what's going on or trying to point them in the, right direction when I don't have all the answers.
Right. What do you have coming up in the future, music wise?
Well, hopefully in this next year, looking to work on maybe another solo project and possibly the Empire Group album. This is where we leave you. And work on a soundtrack for the Underground Experience documentary film that I'm working on right now. Just kind of giving a overview of, history of the 2-6, history of North Carolina hip hop, and kind of expanding and showing people, what the scene's like and some of the history, where it's going.
So, for those of you who don't know where to find Mr. J, I will have all of his information in the description box. But I will let Mr. J tell us a few of the avenues that we can find him. Go ahead, Mr. J.
Yeah, you can go ahead and find me at nccCEO@Yahoo. That's my email. You can go ahead and check me out on Instagram, NCCCEO, NCC Records The Empire on Facebook, NCC Record Empire on X, NCC Records The Empire on Threads, and www.empiremusic, spelled MUSIQ, on our website. go check those out. Of course, we have a funder up for the underground experience. You can tap into that and possibly get you an IMDb credit for sponsoring or helping to sponsor the film.
Well, it's been so great having you here, Mr. J. And I will insert that information as well so you guys can know exactly where you can find Mr. J, find out all about his music, his solo music, and his music along with his group. It's been amazing having you here. I do appreciate it. You could have been anywhere, but you are here with us tonight. So, with that being said, do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
Yeah, we just try to make sure people, show love. Appreciate you for having me on here. Like I said, everybody can go check out the website. Please check out the films that I've been involved with. Savage Genesis, The Herb Train, and the upcoming Hails from the Dead Zone. So as soon as we have all the information for that last one, which is still in post-production, we'll have it on the website.
And once again, it was amazing having Mr. J here today. I will be inserting his information into this video overall so you'll know exactly where to find him. It's been great having you all here as well as Mr. J, and I hope to see you all next time. Please support Mr. J with his solo projects and his group projects. Support him in all of his projects. It's nice to see someone so dedicated to their craft. A lot of times people get into a certain business or a certain thing and they give up. But Mr. J has been going hard, going strong with his music since he was a child. And that is something to be appreciated. So again, please check him out. I'm glad he was here. And thank you all for watching the channel. And I hope you will return. Hopefully we'll have Mr. J here again to come back and tell us more about his projects. Thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you soon on Beauty by Jen.